It's tough. Look, I've had a lot of fights and they haven't all gone my way, but I've only been beat up twice. And that
Mixed martial arts, MMA, often considered the world's fastest growing sport, has a unique blend of martial arts, athleticism, style, and raw human energy. From no holds, barred beginnings to current, more regulated forms representing martial arts disciplines, as well as the stories of their individual journeys that will become important threads in this ever-changing quilt. The key to the game's appeal is the matchmaking system. Without further ado, let's start. Here are some of the worst MMA matchmaking blunders. Number 1, James Toney versus Randy Couture, UFC 118 2010. This bout became set towards a backdrop of the age-antique debate, boxing versus wrestling. James Toney, a celebrated boxing global champion, stepped into the octagon to stand for MMA legend Randy Couture. The fight changed into an obtrusive mismatch. Couture did a takedown inside seconds, rendering Toney's boxing prowess useless. Couture then proceeded to dominate Toney on the ground, sooner or later completing him with an arm triangle choke in the first spherical. The talent units between pure boxers and pro MMA combatants are vastly extraordinary. Number 2, CM Punk vs. Mickey Gall, UFC 203 2016. CM Punk being a WWE celeb. With a massive fan base but zero professional MMA fights, Punk's debut changed into quite anticipated. The combat turned into an obvious mismatch. Mickey Gall, a younger and hungry prospect, took Punk down early and eventually secured a rear bear choke, finishing the bout inside the first round. While Punk's determination and courage to enter the octagon had been commendable, his loss of revel turned into obtrusive. This could have been avoided if the UFC thought logically. The UFC faced a grievance for permitting a person with no expert fights to compete at this type of excessive stage. Number 3, Kimbo Slice vs. Houston Alexander, The Ultimate Fighter 10 Finale 2009. Kimbo Slice, a Street Fighter turned MMA fighter, had a huge following due to his YouTube street combat videos. He changed into paired-in opposition to Houston Alexander, a fighter with explosive strength but on a skid in his profession. Number 4, Nana 5000 vs. Kimbo Slice, Bellator 149 2016. The much-hyped fight was expected to be a confrontation due to the street cred of both participants. Both fighters had a history of street fighting, and the case was set for a fight. Impact. The fight was one of the most criticized fights in MMA history. This caused a lot of upset among the fans and critics. Both fighters showed extreme fatigue, and the match was absolutely the slugfest many expected. This fight ended in the third round with Kimbo getting the win by TKO, but it was Dada's health scares, including a subsequent heart arrest, that highlighted the risks involved. It emphasized the importance of comprehensive medical examination in combat and the dangers of prioritizing entertainment over fighter safety. What followed was a brutal reminder of the potential dangers of the game. It was rather disturbing than entertaining. Number 5, Bethe Correa vs. Ronda Rousey, UFC 190 2015. Correa's undefeated streak and her trash-talking to Rousey earned her a title shot. However, many questioned her true skills and whether she was ready for someone like Rousey. Rousey's dominance was obvious. He knocked out Correa in 34 seconds, as anticipated. While Correa's promotional skills were impressive, his technical skills were inconsistent. This fight highlighted the need for merit-based matches, especially in title matches. Number 6, Anderson Silva vs. Patrick Cote, UFC 90 2008. Anderson Silva, by 2008, had cemented his legacy as one of the greatest middleweights of all time. His technical skills and ability to finish fights were unmatched. Eyebrows were raised when Patrick Cote was announced as his next opponent. What began as a technical battle, with neither fighter gaining a clear advantage, took an unexpected turn in the third round. Cote's knee gave out, and the fight ended abruptly, leaving fans feeling incomplete. Cote's resilience was remarkable. He was the first UFC fighter to take Silva to the third round when the latter became champion. But from the perspective of Pierre, this fight made no sense. Silva was only coming off major victories over top competitors, and while Cote had the talent, he hadn't displayed the skills that seriously threatened Silva's reign. And the end of this fight against the finish gave the sense that there was no alignment, further compounded. Number 7, Matt Serra vs. Georges St-Pierre, UFC 69 2007. GSP was the sport's rising star and welterweight champion when Serra, fresh off a tough victory, was put up against him. Before GSP moved on to more qualified opponents, many viewed the fight as just an event. Against all odds, Serra was able to pull off one of the most important upsets in MMA history, defeating GSP via TKO in the first round. And this win left everyone astonished, though the war saw the decline of MMA. Number 8. Chael Sonnen vs. Jon Jones, UFC 159, 2013. Chael Sonnen, known for his trash talk and boxing skills, was very competitive in the middleweight division. The decision to face light heavyweight champion Jon Jones, especially after losing his previous fight, came as a shock to many. Jon Jones dominated Sonnen, showcasing the weight difference and skill difference. Jones eliminated Sonnen in the first round. While the bout had promotional value, especially after both fighters' coaching jobs on TUF, it lacked a competitive aspect. Many felt that fighters in the lightweight division who had worked their way up were being overlooked. This tournament seemed to prioritize entertainment over fitness. Number 8. Yumiko Hata vs. Gabi Garcia, Rizin, 2006. Gabi Garcia, a BJJ world champion of outstanding size and age, was compared to Yumiko Hata, a 49-year-old boxer who was making the transition to MMA. Garcia's dominance was evident from the start. The fight was uneven, leaving fans confused by the obvious inconsistencies. In a sport where safety is paramount, such glaring discrepancies are cause for concern. While Hata's professional wrestling background meant he was no stranger to the combat sport at all, MMA is an entirely different beast. The vast differences in age, skill, and size made this battle particularly volatile. Number 10. Brock Lesnar vs. Frank Mir E. UFC 81, 2008. Brock Lesnar, transitioning from pro wrestling with only one MMA fight under his belt, was pitted against former champion Frank Mir. The fight showcased Lesnar's strength and raw power, but his inexperience was apparent. After catching Lesnar's mistake, Mir ended the match with a knee strike. Given Lesnar's marketability, the UFC's decision made sense. However, the bout with Mir is not the only one in MMA. Lesnar showed promise but was green in the struggle. From a matchmaking perspective, this was a big blunder. Slowing Lesnar down to the MMA world would have been a more logical approach. Mistakes in matchmaking are part of MMA's growth. As the game matures, promoters are refining their strategies to create fair, fun, and safe games. But these mistakes are a reminder of the challenges fighters face and the incremental responsibility they pass on to their athletes and fans. The realm of MMA matches, as we explored, is a careful balance of skill assessment, hedonic value, and ethical considerations. While the sport by its very nature celebrates the unpredictability of combat and the sheer will of the competitors, matches played outside the cage play an important role in the course of the fighters' careers and the overall story of the game in the formation of On Reflection. The main contention of a tournament often stems from a constant tension between the priorities of business and sporting ethics. The question lingers, is this phenomenon worth it? Comment your views on this. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to let us know by giving it a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. We'll see you in the next one.